Welcome to Swan Song. I'm Jill Evans and I'm a counselling psychologist and a writer. Today we're going to look at the psychology of jealousy and why we might experience it as we get a bit older, and the gentle, practical steps we can take to overcome it and to reclaim our peace of mind. Jealousy can be exhausting. It can disrupt our daily life and make us feel a little bit ashamed of experiencing it, especially at this stage in our lives. But if you are carrying this burden right now, I want you to take a deep breath and give yourself some grace. You're not flawed. Jealousy is simply an old alarm system trying to look after you. So today, let's explore a few psychological insights to help quieten that alarm, to handle those sudden spikes of anxiety and let go of those heavy feelings for good. To gently move past jealousy, we first need to understand why it visits us. In psychology, we recognise that jealousy is rarely about what the other person is doing. It's actually about our own mind sensing a threat to our connection to others or to our personal sense of value. So let's get deeper. Deep inside our brains sits a tiny structure called the amygdala. Think of it as a very loyal but slightly over-anxious guard dog. It developed because generations ago, being left out of the group we belonged to or losing a close bond meant real physical danger. So our brain evolved this alarm to keep you safe and to keep you close to the people you care about. But this internal guard dog can get easily confused. It might sound a massive alarm because a partner is a bit quiet, or a friend didn't phone you back when you left a message. We can overcome these feelings by realising that an emotion is just a piece of data. It isn't an absolute truth. Just because your mind is sounding the alarm doesn't mean there's a crisis. We can simply acknowledge the feeling, pat the anxious guard dog on the head and say, "Thank you for trying to look after me, but I'm perfectly safe." So how can we soothe that alarm? We can use a useful approach from cognitive behavioural therapy, which I like to call separating the facts from the fiction. When a pang of jealousy strikes, our imagination instantly begins to write a rather dramatic script. The facts are what is actually happening in the room right now. For instance, my partner is having a chat with a neighbour over the garden fence, or my friend went out for lunch with someone else today. Those are the simple, observable facts. The fiction, however, is what our anxiety fills the gaps with. It whispers, "They find them more interesting than me. I'm being replaced. I'm not good enough anymore." When you feel that familiar sting, I highly recommend sitting down with a notepad and dividing a page into two columns. On the left, write down only what a camera could see, the bare facts. On the right, write down the anxious story your mind is spinning. Seeing those two situations separated on paper helps you realise that the story isn't reality. It allows your logical, wise mind to step back into the driver's seat. But what do we do in the exact moment the feeling peaks? When we feel the overwhelming urge to ask for constant reassurance, or to check up on someone, or perhaps drop a sharp comment that we didn't really mean. All is not lost. In mindfulness practice, we use a technique called urge surfing. We often worry that if we don't act on a difficult emotion immediately, it will just keep growing until it overwhelms us. But psychological research shows that emotions are actually like waves on a shore. They roll in, they build to a peak, and if we don't feed them with an argument or an anxious action, they naturally recede and wash away. Most emotional surges only last about 10 to 15 minutes if we leave them be. So the next time the urge feels strong, give yourself 15 minutes of grace. Sit quietly, place a hand over your heart, and take slow, gentle breaths. Tell yourself, I can feel this discomfort right now, and that's all right. I'm just going to ride this wave until it passes. You will be amazed at how the panic dissolves when you simply allow the wave to break without fighting it. And finally, we have to take a look at why we feel this way. Jealousy is almost always a mirror reflecting a part of us that needs a little extra care. It often thrives on old wounds, perhaps a past betrayal from years ago, or a feeling of vulnerability that we can sometimes find creeping in as we age, or if roles in our lives change. When jealousy shows up, try asking yourself with kindness, what is this feeling trying to tell me about what I need right now? Do you need to remind yourself of your own worth? Do you need to reconnect with your own hobbies and passions? True peace comes from building your own internal sanctuary. When you nurture your own self-worth and remember that your value is yours alone and it's not dependent on anyone else's constant attention, then jealousy can't starve your own self-worth to death. You should stop worrying about losing your place in the world because you are firmly anchored here and you have been for some time. Be gentle with yourself as you practice this. It takes time, but you are worth the effort. Remember to take a breath, separate the facts from fiction, and ride the wave. If these thoughts brought a little comfort to your day, then give this video a like and subscribe, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and take care. I'm Jill Evans, and I am the Anxious Therapist.